Tonight, inside a packed St. Louis courtroom, some of the sheriff's own top commanders turned on him. They described a department in turmoil, accusing suspended Sheriff Alfred Montgomery of ignoring warnings, retaliating against veteran deputies, and triggering chaos inside the City Justice Center. It was the clearest picture yet of what state prosecutors are calling a pattern of abuse of power. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, is live outside the courthouse with what we learned on day 2 in court. Mark.
And it was a long second day of testimony in Judge Stephen Omer's courtroom today, but it came with visual aids. Jail surveillance video, police body camera video, secret phone call recordings, all of it very compelling, adding to the intrigue in the courtroom. But more than what we saw and heard, it was who we heard it from. Montgomery's own top brass, his deputies, one by one, lining up and together painting a very cohesive picture and quite a sharp contrast. On one hand, they painted a picture of a rogue, runaway rookie sheriff, flexing his powers beyond the limits of the law, lashing out at anyone who questioned him, waging personal vendettas to punish deputies who would participate in depositions or federal investigations into the sheriff. On the other hand, they drew a very different picture of Jail Commissioner Tammy Ross, different than the one the sheriff described. They described her as cooperative, accommodating, even helping deputies cut the line at the jail to serve papers quickly. Interim Jail Commissioner Doug Burris even described her as, quote, the perfect person for the job, the day after Montgomery's lawyers tried to cast her as a witness with low credibility and qualifications. Perhaps the most damaging testimony came from several of the deputies who said they heard Montgomery say days in advance he was growing tired of Ross in the days leading up to it, and that he was planning to lock her up. That premeditated act, or the description of a premeditated act, the center of his federal criminal charge, looks to be quite difficult for the defense to overcome, especially for the embattled sheriff, as several of his own commanders testified that they told him not to do it. He brushed off their warnings and did it anyways.
One of the deputies said the minute he heard the sheriff put Ross in cuffs, he called former Mayor Tashara Jones. What do you think the chances are she'll be called to testify?
Yeah, that testimony caught everyone's attention, and it might speak to the chain of command. There's some question about what Tammy Ross, what power or authority she had to do that. Was she acting at the mayor's direction? Was she acting alone? It was Major Steve Chalmers in the sheriff's department who said he called Tashara Jones, quote, because the mayor was Tammy Ross's boss. I asked one of the attorneys in the Attorney General's office in the hallway, hey, are you guys going to call former Mayor Tashara Jones to the stand? And of course, those witness subpoenas are kept under seal. The judge and courts don't want us to know who's coming in and out of the courtroom to protect the integrity of the process. But the only response I got was a wry smile at the end of the hall, and then said, that's what makes these trials so fun. Sounds a bit like a tease of what's to come later this week and into next week. Live downtown, Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.